within the team? Have you ever felt the need to explore more about yourself? Have you just felt like you're slightly disconnected? If so, William Cross has a module that we will continue to explore in this video to really understand what that could be for you as a Black female collegiate athlete. Talk. I'm so glad to have you back. In this video, we are going to discuss and continue to discuss the Black racial module that was created by William Cross. And in the last video, we talked specifically about the first two stages, which are the pre-encounter stage and the encounter stage. And during the pre-encounter stage, just to recap, we talked about how you develop your characteristics, your outlook on life, and just the self-esteem perspective that you have for yourself. And typically what happens is you absorb and you develop the characteristics based on your environment. So if you are a minority in a situation, you tend to look at the characteristics, whether it's physical features, athletic features, family dynamics, whatever that could be for those that you're around, and you begin to determine what is right and what is wrong, what you feel is successful, what you feel is not so successful. And so those are some of the characteristics that you develop. And in this stage, often for Black women, we tend to place our perspectives of ourselves on the lower scale. And though the individuals that are around us, whether again it's their physical appearance, we place that on a higher spectrum because we don't typically see the representation for ourselves. Of course, depending on your sport, that could change, or the environment or the community that you're raised in, but typically that is what we experience. And during the second stage, encounter, to briefly recap that is a moment where we have collision of identities, that something in our life has caused us to recognize that we are different, that racism does exist, that there are barriers that we cannot necessarily change based on who we are and the color of our skin. So at that moment, you begin to tap in and realize that, hey, life is getting a little uncomfortable, and what is it that I need to do to understand who I am in society? And so that's where we left off for the last video. In this video, we're going to discuss the last two stages, and then we will introduce another stage in another video. But for this one, we're going to talk about the immersion stage and the internalization stage. During the immersion stage, it's pretty impressive that I think many Black college athletes experience is that it says that we have to make a decision on how we will further explore who we are. So in the immersion stage, as it sounds, is you will find a way in your life, a pocket or opportunity to immerse yourself in what you feel helps to define and support your identity as a Black woman. Because often as an athlete, as we've discussed in previous videos, the athletic identity is the priority. But once you're starting to realize that athletics is not necessarily a permanent track for you, maybe after collegiate sports, you won't be an athlete anymore, but you haven't explored life outside of that world. So at this stage, you decide to maybe get more friends that represent you, maybe more friends that are just minority, maybe more friends that are Black. Maybe you even decide to choose a school that allows you to be immersed in that culture. So a lot of college athletes we see during the sophomore to junior year, we see transfers that occur that may be from a PWI, which is also known as a predominantly white institution, to transfer to an HBCU, which is also known as a historically Black college or university. So that allows the experience of understanding the culture, maybe more feelings of acceptance, and just understanding what that means to be Black. And for everyone, it is different, but even for myself, that was the experience that I took as well. I went to a junior college that we would identify as a PWI, and I transferred to Bethune-Cookman University, which is an HBCU, to really get that experience and to further explore who I was. Now, in that time, I didn't realize that I was doing that, but it was the stage that I was going through in my life that helped me better prepare for life after sports by understanding the balance of both cultures and where I needed to find a balance for myself. Now, in the next stage of internalization, this stage typically can happen to anyone at any time, but specifically as you're ending your athletic career and you're coming towards the end. And at this point, you have discovered who you are. You now understand that being an athlete isn't the priority, but you are now determining what your comfort level is with being black or being a woman. You have to determine what that priority is for you. However, you have now, whatever that is, become comfortable for that. So for myself, I identify myself as a black woman, not a woman that is black. And the reason I do that is because that is what the world sees when they see me first. It's typically race that is identified, followed by gender. Again, for everyone it's different, but at that point you become comfortable in this stage of the internalization stage. You become comfortable in who you are. The typical day-to-day feelings of being defensive and always having to explain who you are, who you are, why you think a certain way, has really has really de-escalated really in how you present yourself to the world, and you're comfortable with that, and you embrace those that are wanting to know and learn more about you. And that's really a key stage for anyone, especially being a black athlete, is that you understand that what you do and how you speak and how you carry yourself speaks for itself. And that you don't necessarily owe others an explanation of who you are and how you got to this point, but understanding that you had to go through significant shifts to get to where you are. So I challenge you to look at your journey, look at your athletic journey, and see what that experience has been for you. Have you made a conscious decision to change your friend circle? Have you made a conscious decision to maybe read more books or watch documentaries to really start to connect with who you are and understanding what that means for you? If you haven't, I would recommend that you start now, because once you get out of college and you're into the real world, it can become a little more challenging to go through that stage of self-discovery, when this could be the perfect opportunity now.